Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday. I am now, I think, 2 nights without getting ill. I had a really bad panic last night though, and I genuinely think I was about ready to just, I think I was about ready that I was making myself ill. And it took me about an hour, so I didn't actually get the sleep that I hoped to get last night because I was up later, because I was just sat there breathing, calming myself down. But yeah, it's not nice, and I feel like I'm married to a particularly sicky person, because in the 10-11 years that we've been together, I have been sick once and Ali has been sick 5 times. And yeah, it makes me very, very nervous, and I'm making light of it because he's fine with it, but I'm not. And it's just one of those things that we navigate. But actually on Instagram, so many people reached out to me, especially a friend of Ali's wife. She was like, she has it too, and the hardest thing is not being able to be there for them when they're unwell, because you want to obviously care for and look after your partner, but you just can't. But anyway, so 2 nights down so far. I am going to say that I don't think I'll be fully comfortable until I'm past the 2-week mark, because 2 weeks is generally when I would get ill after somebody else being ill. So yeah, it's a long way to go. However, the weather is bizarre today, super bizarre. 1 minute it's sunny, 1 minute it looks like it's going to rain. No idea what's going on. I'm heading down to London though today, because my life coach, who kind of lives between America and London, is in London, and I'm going to basically head to see her and just catch up. I am currently not having regular sessions with her. I go through phases. Sometimes I'm like, I need her in my life, and other times I'm like, I don't need her right now, and I'm at a point where I feel quite good with things. However, usually when I speak to her, I'm like, oh my god, you literally just make life so much better. So I'll more than likely end up surfacing things in this sort of catch up where I'm like, we need to do some sessions on this, just because she's really, for me, she's a really good sounding board. I have been so open on my channel about my struggles with just being on the internet. It's so funny because when I started on YouTube it wasn't quite so bad, and then I remember when the internet kind of shifted, and all of a sudden there was this it felt like there was this sort of negative side to it, and I've really had to work hard over the years to kind of make peace with the fact that that exists, because I'm not, me on my own, I'm not capable to just beat this thing. And currently, I don't even know if there is a capacity to beat it, because it's human nature, and until human nature changes, I don't think that sort of culture of gossip and speculation and trolling and that kind of thing is ever going to change. And so I've spoken about it so much on this channel that I was like, well, I can either leave my job, or I can learn to get comfortable with the areas of my job that I'm not comfortable with. And I think this is part of why I'm constantly looking to learn about myself as a person, learn about my personality traits, what it is that upsets me, even just learning about the fact that I'm a HSP is super helpful for me to understand when I get comments, how that affects me as a person. And that's really how she served me. And she serves many different types of people in this world, from CEOs of multi-billion pound companies to housewives of whatever, and it's a very broad spectrum of what she does. And I really resonated with her approach to things, because first of all, there was just no grey areas with her. She's very good at telling me how it is, but also being kind in the process. And I think that has often been my struggle with the internet. It's some of the things that are probably said about me, and the feedback, and the maybe not so positive feedback, there's probably truth in it, but it's very difficult to take it when it's delivered in certain ways, for me anyway. I'm sure it's not for other people. And she delivers things in ways that I'm able to dissect and go away and hopefully learn from and take constructively. And since she's been in my life, I've become such a better person, even just in terms of navigating conflict in everyday life, in terms of friendships, and in terms of my relationship, like Ali and I, and the way that we communicate, even just like in a like relationship, married husband and wife sense, like I think it used to be quite fiery, and it was probably me that was the fiery person, and we both, like, we knew how to wind each other up, and sometimes we still do that, and that's just part of married life, but like we now navigate difficult situations so much better. And he's obviously learned so much inadvertently through me and my learnings with Jacqueline, and so she has only ever been a really positive influence and help in my life. And I've always said this from the beginning, like, I pay Jacqueline as a customer. I'm so grateful for her, and I think what she teaches us is really important and really just grounding and comforting and things like that. So I always, every so often, like pop her on my channel, just because I know that there'll be people out there that feel the same way as me. And so I thought it might be quite interesting for you guys to come and see her, maybe sit in, hear what we talk about, hear the things that are discussed, and just get a little bit of an insight into how things work with her in that capacity. I always leave my sessions with her feeling like on cloud 9, and she's just really helped me with dealing with this thing on the internet and learning how to be a better human, but also be a human, and also just navigate difficult things, because those are the key skills that I will say that we're not taught in school. Those are really important key points and key life skills to understand about feedback, to understand about our thoughts, to understand about our feelings, the difference between the two of them, and expectations of life, and all of those things are the kind of things that we cover. And I think that should be taught in school. I actually think that it would be really great if someone like Jacqueline, and I think it should be Jacqueline, developed like part of a curriculum, because I think that there would be a lot less of a mental struggle in this world if we were taught these things. It's not down to me to teach that, but I thought you might find it interesting to come on today's little like catch up with her. We're friends now, as well as we are like, I'm a client of hers, because I just think that she is a tonic. So I'm gonna get myself ready. I'm wearing this dress from Louisa Kelsey. This is like a sort of broderie dress. I've got my vintage Hermes belt on, and I'm going to take a little bag with me to London. The weather is obviously bizarre. Like I said, I need to pack a ton of batteries and head on my merry way. So shoes, I also need shoes. Shoes are also very important, because you don't want to be walking barefoot around London. We're also having, hopefully, 5 years later, our internet connected today. They have come out so many times, they have let us down so many times, they've let everyone down here so many times. But I hear drills going, I hear work commencing, and it seems like we are getting broadband. If you don't know, our house is kind of semi-off-grid. For the most part, I think our electricity supply is grid, but our sewage, our water, our internet, everything else is off-grid. And we're hoping that our internet will bring us on grid, because at the moment for the last few years, we've been battling using mobile internet. I can't believe I've been a creator using mobile internet. And today, fingers crossed, I'll be coming home to super fast broadband internet. Oh, the luxury. I actually can't believe it. So I'm gonna pack my bag and head to the station. I'm gonna pick up a coffee and not forget my headphones and head to London. Well, I've made it down to London already, and I've had such a lovely journey so far. It's just the small things, isn't it? I went to get my usual morning coffee, which is just about all I can stomach at the moment, and the lady remembered my coffee order, which has never ever happened to me before. Like, I've never ever had anyone remember my coffee order. When I walk in, they'll be like, oh, is it a sweet latte? I'm like, yeah. I know it's not like the longest coffee order, but nice to be remembered. And then I met a lovely subscriber on the train who was from Kuwait, and it was just really nice, really like a good posy vibes start to the day, and just two simple things that just made my day. So yeah, anyway, I'm heading to Jacqueline's house now and looking forward to catching up. We have Piper. Oh my goodness. Piper. It's been so long and you've been sniffing my knees because you can smell my puppies.
I'm going to give you that picture right second, her sniffing your knee.
Oh, I'll insert the picture.
Funny.
Honestly.
Literally her whole head was in your knees.
I know, just sniffing. She's so funny though, 'cause she's so like my dogs in the sense that she really likes new people.
This one?
Yeah, so she's like,
God,
she always,
totally.
because my dogs act like they don't know me when I have people over. Like who's this?
Someone else You're nothing.
You're so beautiful. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Give a kiss. Yes. Yes. Wait, are you ready for your close-up? Yes, you are. Look at you. You're so happy. So happy. You've had a very nice haircut. They've done your schnoot very beautifully. So weird. Like I feel like I've been to your house loads, but I never like vlog when I'm here.
You never vlog when you're here, but
No.
we definitely do have good conversations when we're here.
Yeah.
And you know, I always say like, you know, people, because I work now pretty much Zoom is a lot.
But that's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Like I think that if COVID hadn't happened, I would have felt like, oh no, I need to like go and be there in person.
Yeah.
But obviously coming down to London, I don't think I would have been able to have had so many sessions. And it's like, even just the ability to be like, Jacqueline, I need a session, and you'll be like, right, I can fit you in at like this time, and I'm like, amazing, yeah. We can do it anyway. It never feels like we're not engaging in the right
100%.
way. Also, by the way, we have been sat here for at least an hour and a half already having a conversation, so it feels weird when I like stop and introduce you, but I've come down to London to visit Jacqueline at her house, and this, like I said, this sofa is like a sofa that I have sat on many times with her, but I also have done most of my sessions with Jacqueline via Zoom. But it is always nice to have this opportunity, to come and see you, but also just to sit like person to person, because I feel like we have different conversations when we're in person as well. And so yes, Jacqueline is my life coach and has been my life coach for like 2-3 years.
Probably about 2 years.
Yeah. And I always forget how long it is. It feels like you've always...
It feels like 20 years, doesn't it? It feels like
it
really that long.
Yeah, it does.
But that's lovely. That's what you know, good life coaching is about. That you build that rapport with people, and then you do, you know, a set of sessions or a couple of sets of sessions, and then some people just want to continue and learn more and grow more. Some people are like, yeah, thanks, bye. You know, there's no, like, you're not meant to be, for me anyway, it's you're not meant to be in there like for the rest of your life. Like, you're meant to learn, grow, and then I'm like, fly, little bird.
That was one of the things that I respected so much about what you said to me when we first started like working together. You were like, I don't expect you to stay and need me all the time. I want you to be able to go and put these things into practice. And I think that's where I'm like, we always know when I've got to a point where I'm like, right, I need to take the stabilizers off, and I need to go and try to ride the bike on my own. I'll like ride it for a few months where I'm like, I've got this, and then as life does, there's like different things, and I'm like, right, I haven't learned how to navigate this, and I definitely think I could do some sessions on this if I feel like it's really like getting to me, or I feel like I can't like navigate it enough, then I'll come back. And so, but what I said to them before I came, I was just like, I know that we're probably going to unearth something where I'm like, I need to do some sessions on this, even just in this conversation, because it's fascinating, and I know that I feel things intensely as a person, and so when things are even just happening in the world and not happening to me, sometimes I can't digest them, and I'm like, I need to work through this.
But I think it's evolution, and I think that if you are somebody who's interested in becoming like a better person and understanding yourself better so that you can be a better person, the work never stops. You always want to, you know, become better and learn better and grow more and evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve. And so, you know, that is part of this journey. If you are, you know, somebody who wants to become conscious and wants to become aware and evolve, otherwise we just stay asleep.
Yeah,
you know.
I always say that sometimes I'm like, do I need a session, or just do I need a little bit of Jacqueline? And even if you listen to this conversation and you want to go and like learn more about Jacqueline, she's got a book, and you've also done like loads of podcasts, and I listen to your recent podcast with
Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah, I know. And I listened to that and I was like, there were so many things in that I was like, I always think I know everything from you, and I always say this, and you're like, no, Lydia. No, Lydia. I listened to the whole thing, and I'm like, even after doing like years of sessions with you, there's still moments where I'm like, I just needed to hear that from you. And it wasn't, I wasn't even in the conversation, but I'm like...
But we're all like that. Just because I've been doing this for 20 years, I'm still going, wow, I needed to hear that still. Wow, that's a great way of putting that. Like, you know, I don't know why we have this thing in life, don't we? Like, right, that should be done, tick that box, and now I get like, no, this is just gentle, patiently, you know, growing.
Yeah. Recently, I put up a video on my YouTube where I was like, I don't know if I've ever told them this, but I always have felt like an outsider. And the things that I said in the video, people were like, Lydia, you need to go away and you need to Google a HSP. And it's a highly sensitive person. I'd never heard of this before. And I was like reading this and I was like, oh my God, I'm a highly sensitive person. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
And it was like, I understand myself just a little bit more from going away and like learning just that small thing about myself.
And there's a difference, right, between, I have to say this, right, here we go, but there's a difference between understanding yourself and saying, okay, that's really helpful for me. Yeah. And you know what I'm going to say, right, you don't want to label yourself. No. Because that can also keep people small. Like, I'm not keen on labels, right? I'm keen on saying, oh, okay, I relate a little bit to that, right? Because a lot of people would, not saying you will, but use that and be like, oh, but I've got this label.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm going to just live up to this really low place. Like, no.
It doesn't have to define you, is what you're saying. Exactly. You can use it to understand yourself and work better. And I can completely relate to that, because I think that one of the things I did a few years ago, and any of like my OG watchers will remember when I did my personality test. Have you ever done one of those?
Have I ever done a personality
test? Like the Myers-Briggs personality test?
I have not, and I can tell you why, but it...
Tell me why, I'd love to hear your perspective.
This is only my perspective, and it's just like, I'm sure that that's right, like I'm not saying it's wrong, but I believe that, you know, we aren't all fitting into a box.
No.
And again, it's like interesting to understand yourself a bit better, but then where does that leave you? Does that mean that if you're ticking this box, then you can't be a bit in that box? Because we're all contradictions in terms, right? We're all like, oh, I love designer, oh, I hate designer, oh, I want this, oh, I don't want that. Like, as humans, we change and we grow, and it would be great to allow ourselves to do that more, and especially allow other people to do that more. That they may have said this 5 years ago and they don't agree with that 5 years later, or they may have said that yesterday and they've changed their mind today, right? Like allowing ourselves to do that. So again, all of this stuff is really interesting. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but for me it's like, the reason why I talk about it is because it was interesting for me to understand, because I'm such a like hyper vigilant person that when I'm in social settings, I would be like, why am I like that and they're not like that? So I often feel like a weirdo because I'm so affected by like seeing beautiful things. Like I walk into people's homes and I'm like, oh my God, your house is so beautiful. And my friends are a bit like, all right, chill out, Lydia. And I didn't understand why I could see that and they couldn't. And so for me, it's like a comforting thing to be like, it's part of my personality, it's part of who I am. Yeah. And I learn in that moment to be a bit more like, oh my God, am I a weirdo, and more of like, it's just part of my personality, which I quite like. I think it's a human nature thing, isn't it, where it's like people like extremes of things. Like they like certainty. Yeah. Your brain likes certainty. I bang on about that a lot.
This is one of the things where I realised that people really like to hold on to things. Have you ever heard of the curly girl method?
The curly girl
so
method. I've heard of like the hot girl summers.
No, the curly girl, you're going to think this is like, so weird. But like the curly girl method is a way to wash your hair.
Oh, there's a way.
There's a way to wash your hair. So that basically, then there'll probably be people listening to this thinking, Lydia, you've got no idea what the curly girl method is. But it's basically a way to wash your hair so that it enhances your natural curls. Right. So I have natural curls, and it's only through using sulfate-free shampoo and conditioner that I realised that I have really natural curls. However, this is bye-bye. I followed a girl that was, Piper's like, this is so boring.
No, I thought that was her like growling. I'm like, who's she growling at? Okay.
So basically what it is it then became like a bit of a sort of hair movement, and there were Facebook groups set up, and I followed this girl online that was part of it, and she came onto her stories one day and she was like, this is nuts, like people are literally shaming people for not doing the curly girl method in the correct way, but instead just doing it to suit themselves. And I was like, it was in that moment where I was like, if you can take a way of washing your hair and make it something like that, I now understand a little bit more that like humans tend to do that, whereas I really like understanding little nuances about personalities or people or whatever, and being able to sort of look into it more, read a book on it, or explore it more in myself. So speaking to you about it, or not the curly girl method, but like things that I learned about.
Discuss that. It's really interesting. This is another topic, isn't it? Of like everyone has an opinion, and their opinion's right all the time, and there's no space to give someone else to maybe have a different opinion, and it'd be alright that we have different opinions today. You know,
I think for me and you, that was very much what I came to speak to you about first and foremost, which is something that I definitely feel like I've like moved. It's so weird when I think back to where I was when I came to see you, but also like
totally
where I am now, but also where I was when we did our first video together. Like even then, I feel like then
when I came to your place.
Yeah.
Right.
Even then I was like, I'm past it, but it's such an evolving thing. Whereas
it's always evolving.
The calmness that I feel now is not the calmness that I felt even back then, and we've done so much work since then. But I know that it's something, especially in my industry, that people still really struggle with. And it's so interesting as well, because in the last few weeks I actually can't cope with the amount of other influencers that have been in my DMs like, Lydia, I don't know how to cope. And I think, wow,
what, being online?
Yeah, because I think it's a really like intense time now, and I don't even think it's just saved for creators or influencers or whatever. You can just be like a mum with 3,000 followers, and you're still coming up against this quite hostile world, and navigating that is so different. I want to be able to thrive in this world, because we can't, in my opinion, I couldn't beat it. So I needed to learn the tools myself to be able to be like, I accept that exists, and I'm so conscious of my language around it as well. Like I hate it when I even like mess up and I say like online hate. I'm like, it's just someone's opinion. Like I have to really keep the language calm. And
also understanding that it's never about you, which is such an important thing to understand. When you like yourself, you're not spewing that stuff out. When you are at ease with yourself, you're not spewing that stuff out. When you can learn through coaching that you validate yourself, it's a whole different ball game. Or get validated, I should say, by being mean and rude. Like, you're not doing that. You must remember like what's actually happening, because you don't want to sit there going, oh my god, she said that she hates my shoes and that I should know better. Because if you do that, you're stuck in a lot of, pain. And that's when someone says, I hate your shoes, that's got nothing to do with you. Or your shoes.
No.
Actually, no. It's like, all right then, don't like my shoes. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot ruder than that. But it's just not about you.
I think that in the beginning, it very much was that sort of like, oh, I don't like Lydia's hair or whatever. And initially, when you're at that stage in your life, you're like, oh my god, like, I really like my hair. And then you'll look back on your hair in 5 years and be like, oh my god, I hate my hair.
Right, because you change your opinion.
Yes.
Okay. You're allowed to think that.
People that don't know you as well. Like that's such a
100%. But okay,
if it's not, if that's not for you, that's okay. Things will exist a lot in life that
it's just like, okay, have your say. Write that on my feed. Like, okay. It's like that's as much energy as I'm gonna give it. And that's a real superpower, right? So that's why this stuff is so important. Coaching is important. I never got taught at school, Jacqueline, this is how you manage your emotions. Where I got taught maths, which I can't do, and spelling, which I still can't do.
Which I don't want to interrupt you, but I literally said that before. I think you should be teaching in schools.
I mean, yeah,
there should be a curriculum of what you're doing.
100% agree with that.
I think that mental, like I see it so much now. Like we had a friend once upon a time who had like a really bad relationship. Sorry, I'm so sorry that I interrupted you on
No,
that.
no, go ahead. I love it. I love it.
We had a friend and he was constantly, you know, allowing his relationship with his family to beat him up every single day. It was just, he didn't see them anymore, he had nothing to do with them, but what they did to him when he was like 10 years old or whatever, he was allowing them to, he was living in it constantly. And I could see how his brain was just serving him that, because he'd not been taught how to make peace with things that had happened to him, because horrible things happen and things that you just can't even put into words. But you can have those things happen and then not define you for the rest 100%. Of your life. One of the things that you've always said to me is like, that's life. Like life happens.
It does happen.
And we don't get to choose like the degrees of what lifing happens. Yeah. But we get to choose how we let them define us, how we think about it. And
this work is like a manual of how to use the most important muscle in your body, which men always laugh at, and they're like, oh, it's not really. It is, trust me. It's like, we're talking about your brain. So like, it's so important because we aren't taught how to use it. And I always say the brain's a bit like a puppy dog. It's a bit like Piper over there. And it's like, you know, she's over here, she's over there, she's over here, she's over, and you have to train your dog, you have to train your brain. You've got to like, get it in check. And when I learn how to think about things properly and I can handle any situation in a way where I can remain calm, I've won the lottery. People don't have to agree with that, right? But when you invest in your mental health and understand how to use your brain, you are free. That's my view.
Yeah, I always find that there's discussions whenever like we've spoken, or whenever I've spoken about having a life coach, where people are like, oh, you know, can't prioritize like life coaching over like traditional therapy. And I'm like, I think this is where I was like, I've never learned how to control my thoughts from therapy. Like therapy is amazing. Talking about things in that way is so important. But we talked about it and it felt really good, and I always felt really good having spoken about things. But I was in the vicious cycle of not learning how to change.
It's the how to.
The how to.
That's the bit I'll do with you.
Exactly.
It's the how to. And I get that a lot of people come to me and they're like, listen, I've done therapy and, you know, and the thing is I really know my patterns and I really know myself, and now I'm stuck. And I'm like, perfect. That makes me so happy. Like, I'm your girl. Quick, let me teach you how to do this. And it's exciting because I get to see people from, you know, A to Z, and the growth and the change. Like, to me, that is what, you know, that makes me emotional, to watch people and to watch you, Lydia. Like, from where I first met you, that first phone call, oh my gosh, right, to like today, like, wow,
I am
like a different person.
Oh my god, like
beautiful.
The most incredible. Like, I like the person that I am now, like, more than anything, because I like was so consumed with like negativity, and when you're consumed with negativity, you hold on to that and you almost become it. And now,
and that's what negative people want for you.
Absolutely.
By the way.
They want you to be with where they are.
100%. And that's why it's your responsibility to take control of how you think. You know, we can't spend our lives blaming people all day long for our unhappiness. You've got to step into emotional adulthood, and that's your work.
I think that that's the thing for me now. When I'm served situations, I'm able to see how I would have previously reacted and the way that I react now, and I'm so proud of myself.
So powerful to do that, and to say to yourself, like, wow, that's what I used to do, and this is what I do now. That's exactly how you see your growth, right?
I learned how to slow down reactions and thought processes, and by the time you've gone through the motions with things, you see things for what they are. One of the biggest issues throughout my life that I've had is like my relationships with other women, like friendships with other women, and I never felt like I was able to, I never thought that I was able to...
Love that you did that. I was like, am I going to do that? Or shall I wait for her to finish?
I never thought that I was able to really get on with women, and now I feel like I understand women so much better. And so I've had situations where a girl has come up to me and they've been like, you know, Lydia, you did this and you did that and this, that and the other. And previously I'm not a confrontational person, so I'd try and diffuse the situation and try, and then when it gets to a point I'd be like, oh, do you know what, like, F off or whatever like that. And then faced with the same situation recently with a situation that I had with someone like that, if that makes any sense. And this person came up to me and they're like, you know, and they wanted confrontation.
Yeah.
Wanted it. And I knew they wanted it. And I knew before they'd come up to me that they wanted that confrontation again. And instead, I showed them calmness, but also gave them the time to just, I could see them getting more and more irate. And as I'm saying calmer, you can't really, when someone's not meeting you energetically like that, it was just diffusing.
It's a very powerful thing. I always say to people, if you and I are having an argument, right, basically what's happening is you're holding a rope and I'm holding a rope, and you're pulling and I'm pulling and you're pulling and I'm pulling and you're... Yeah. What happens if I
drop the rope?
Yes. Right?
Sorry, I get so excited about that because that was one of the best things you ever said to me. You're like, Lydia, drop the rope.
Drop the rope. And you know, it's like, especially if you're in like type A, you don't want to drop that rope. It's like, I'm not dropping the rope. And actually, surrender is one of the most important things you can do, right? And I do think it's great that you gave somebody the time to say what they had to say. That's important. Let that person speak. You may learn something there where you think, actually, yeah, I was wrong in that place, or maybe I could have done that better. Like, that's really important. But I'm a real believer of calm is a superpower. And if you can stay calm, which you've learned to do through your thinking, if you can stay calm in those situations, they always work out so much better. Like, it's for you and for them.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I always find it really interesting to watch people that aren't aware of how to use their brain get more and more irate. And I'm like, get the popcorn. I feel like, gosh, I wish you could learn how to use your mind so that you don't get so wound up in yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for me, is that what I'm saying about in school and learning, like, that is something that is like an invaluable lesson that we can all learn if we want to.
Yeah, totally. And when I retire, you know, then yeah, I would like to go and do that.
I think that's the biggest thing in terms of like how I always differentiate between what it is that I do with you and why I felt such an instant propulsion of like progression, rather than sitting in it and talking about it. And we do still talk about it and talk about the situations that I face, or if I'm having a tough time with something. But then comes the actual proactive, like, learning.
Yeah,
to do
you've got to go and do it,
and
right?
That's the thing that you can do the sessions that I do with you,
and
you can have therapy at the same time, or you can do therapy and not do this. But for me, it was learning that I actually have control over my thoughts, and it's like what you say, that is such a power that I've never experienced. Like, I've lived my life up until meeting you thinking my brain served me a thought, and that is the thought. That is it. Like, it's just
you didn't even
thought.
know what thoughts your brain was serving you.
I also didn't know how, like, do you remember how many times you'd asked me to name a feeling, and I was like, I've got 4 feelings.
It's really hard. But it's like, you know, this stuff is just, it's, you know, slowly.
Yeah.
Your mascara is lovely, by the way.
Thanks. It's Swede.
Swede,
yeah. It's this
really pretty
Swedish beauty brand, and I actually they did a collaboration with By Terry. Have you heard?
Yes,
By Terry. And they did a collaboration. They did some eyelashes like 5 years ago, and I wore their eyelashes on my wedding day.
Amazing.
And then they went into like lash products. They have an insane lash serum.
I need all of this.
And their Pro Lash mascara, which is sold out at the moment. Honestly, it's incredible.
It looks incredible.
It's the best mascara I've ever used.
I used to have lash extensions, and I took them off before COVID, actually. And nowadays, I think that the mascaras you can get out there are like, you can get such amazing stuff that you don't, you know, you can look like you've got fake lashes on just using mascara, you know.
That's such, I mean, just we were having a conversation before about hair extensions and things like that. I feel like eyelash extensions are exactly the
that
same
combo.
Yeah, but you don't, once you have it, because I had lash extensions as well for a while, and I used to wear strip lashes on like shoots and things like that, and it's why I wear so much less makeup nowadays. Even you, I was saying to my assistant today, I was like, most of the time when I see you, you're not wearing makeup anymore.
Yeah, very, very rarely.
Because I had to go on a journey of like getting comfortable with actually what I look like.
Yeah.
And it's still a journey that I'm on.
Yeah.
Without everything, and we were talking about when I have like my extensions taken out.
This is such a conversation.
Yeah, like that's it. I'm hoping that when I have them taken out, I'm strong enough in my thoughts that I'm going to be able to do so, and I had them in for a reason, and this isn't going to be, I'm not going to allow it to be an addiction. They're serving a purpose.
Yeah, they are addictive. That's what we were saying before, right? Like, I mean, I had mine in and out for 7 years, and I'm not going to say never. And then it's time to take them out, and you're like, wait, hang on, I don't feel very good, and I don't feel very pretty, and I don't. And going through that process, which nobody talks about, is a real process of saying, like, I'm good enough as I am. Yeah. This is, and who is telling me I should be looking like this? Who's told me that I need to do this to be beautiful? And it's such an interesting topic of conversation because it can define us, can't it? Yeah. It can be defining. But actually, if we're really trying to take that journey, it is about saying, well, this is me, and I'm all right with what I'm bringing out, and I've got some tinted moisturiser on my face and a lack of mascara, and this is who I am. Yeah. And I've been doing that journey myself, since I took out my extensions in February. And it was I've wobbled a lot. Like, I've definitely been on the phone to my friends going, why am I wobbling about hair extensions? But it's not about hair extensions. It's about something much bigger than that, which is how I define myself and what I think of myself to be beautiful or not beautiful. And it's a journey. But I also think as you grow older, these things change too. I think age has a huge thing to do with that. Yeah. And I think age, again, as women, like, we've really got to learn to be comfortable in the age that we're at. Because age, I believe, is a gift. It's about embracing that place and being like the best that you can be in that place and being comfortable in that place. You talking about age is so interesting because at the moment there's a scarily accurate filter on TikTok. I've seen it,
and I used it last night, and because I've been seeing everyone's reactions and like these young, beautiful girls on TikTok looking at it and going like, oh my god, like whatever, you need to use your SPF, or oh my god, this is awful. And I did it, and I genuinely, I think this is down to how your work and the lessons that I've learned with you. All I saw was faces of 3 of the most wonderful people staring back at me in that older picture. It was my mum, my grandma, and my nonna, all like amalgamized into one face, and I was like, oh my god, how lovely, like I'm going to become them. It actually makes me feel emotional.
Yeah, it is emotional,
like,
isn't it?
Yeah, like if I'm lucky enough, I get to look like that. Right. And no, it's not going to be the same version of me now.
Totally.
And even now at like 35, I look back at pictures of when I was like 20 and I'm like, god, Lydia, you were so hot. But I'm like,
everyone does that, right?
Yeah,
you're like, your ass was not big. What am I thinking, right? Of course, but age is like, again, we're going emotional on this one, but there are so many people in the world that are not well. Yeah. And there's so many people in the world, with like disabilities and all these sorts of things. And it's like, we forget that in our normal daily life, right? But actually, life is such a gift. Your aging is such a gift that we're given another day. That all these things that we make important are so not important, right? Look at what is important, which is if you've got a roof over your head, if you've got your health, if you've got people that love you, if you can feed yourself and you've got money to eat, right? Like, that's what's important.
I also think that we actually don't realise that we get to make the rules.
Yeah.
If we all get comfortable with aging, we can debunk the system that is like putting these pressures out there and making us think that these are wrong. If we all choose to be like, no, I'm actually really excited to grow old.
It's a radical choice.
Yeah.
And it's a brave choice, right? It's radical because you're going against what society is consistently feeding you, right? And it's brave to say, do you know what? Actually, no thanks. but it's the most amazing thing you can possibly do for yourself, because that's how you build self-esteem and self-worth. And there are plenty of people today that are doing that, and you can join their crew. Like, we don't have to look at that and be like, well, that's what I've got to be then to be beautiful. That you can say, actually, you know what, I'm not. It's like brainwashing. You know, it's like the old days where it was consistent, like, diet mentality. I feel like it's a bit less now. But that constantly, like, go on Weight Watchers, go, no, do this diet, no, do that diet. And actually a lot of people turned around and said, do you know what, no. Right, actually no thanks. And there's a massive, amazing body positivity movement, right? Those are the sorts of people that you want to be like, they're not subscribing to this rubbish.
This now can be applied to everything, like aging, like fashion,
and
like
it's also not an overnight thing. Like, you're also allowed to change. We're also allowed to go, do you know what, I'm never putting hair extensions on ever again. And then in 2 weeks time, do you know what, actually I feel like I do want to do it. And then maybe you're going to do it and you're going to go, actually I don't like them anymore, so maybe now's the time. And you might go between, you know, you learn that a lot, like through this kind of work. You might hop about a little bit before you get there. People seem to think all of this stuff is like straight line from here, we're going to go straight up. But it's not. You're human, things change. It might just be a bit more like that, you know, and that's okay.
I might change my mind.
Totally.
And that's okay. And I might change my mind. Like, I might turn around when I have my extensions taken out and be like, for me mentally, that wasn't good. Like, when I first had them in, I felt amazing, but I shouldn't need that to make me feel amazing. I should just be comfortable with that. But then equally, I might be like, no, I love that for me. It makes me feel empowered, and I could change. The important thing is that we're talking about it, and talking about the fact that we get to make the rules for ourselves individually. And I think that's the thing that I feel most empowered to do now. When society is telling us that, oh, high-waisted jeans aren't in fashion anymore, I look great in high-waisted jeans, so I'm going to continue to wear high-waisted jeans.
But something might be out of fashion, but if Rihanna wears it, it's straight back in. But why?
Exactly.
Why? Just you do do what makes you happy.
We get to choose what is cool for us. But we're constantly serving. It's like something that there'll be people navigating it, that they'll be in the thick of it. They'll be there buying the it bag, and if that works for them, that's great. Or there'll be the people that are there getting the lash extensions and this, that works for them, great. But what we have to understand is that it's okay for all of us to want to do things our own way and get comfortable with everyone doing things their own way, because we can't all be the same. We just can't.
For sure. And also thinking, you know, just questioning it. It's like,
why am I doing it?
Why am I doing it? Right? Why am I doing it? And does it feel good to me? Is it, you know, something? Is this who I want to be?
Doing the work with you gave me such a strong sense of self that I'd never had before, where I was able to be like, I don't know why I'm doing this, and if I don't know why I'm doing it, I need to have a better reason, or I shouldn't be doing it.
You need to understand yourself.
Yes.
I always say that to my clients in the beginning. I'm like, just so you know, once you become conscious, you can't get unconscious.
No.
And they're like, okay, but they have no idea in the beginning what that actually means. And it's like, you know, you just bloom and you bloom and you bloom, you know, and you want to learn more and you want to grow more, and it's just a, you know, evolution, and it's lovely. I joined Threads, and I felt that Threads was actually really nice. Like, everyone was quite polite over there. It was all a bit cool. Everyone was just, you know, just felt a bit different. But maybe it's because it was like day 2. Everyone's on their best behaviour. Exactly. It could just be that. And do we need another social media platform though? I know. That's the look, right? So tight. That should be like a, you know, the Kim crying emoji. That should be like, we should get an emoji like that. But it is like that, isn't it? It's like, oh god, do we need another one?
Yeah. And I think with TikTok and things like that, like, I've just done TikTok, like, come on. And I'm like, I've got to 1 million followers on TikTok, and now you want me to do Threads? Like, come on. But I'm so scarred from the way that Twitter was, and I remember that, like, it's not the platform that makes it like that, it's us. We make it a good place, and 9 times out of 10 things start nicely and then it descends into chaos. Like, if I think to the early days of Instagram, it was great. Like, you were just uploading a picture of your beans on toast, and people were like, oh my god, this is the best beans on toast I've ever seen. And technology it's different. People lose the human connection, and I especially think when you're like limited to so many things, like characters. There is something that I listened to on a podcast that's called like context collapse, and it's where there's not enough information around it, so the context of what you're saying is completely lost.
Well, that's on everything.
Yeah, and so
especially like WhatsApp and things like that.
TikTok.
That's on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things where I'm like, this isn't one that I'm rushing to. Like I jumped onto TikTok fairly early, but I don't know.
I can't.
I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm really lucky in the sense that I was like, right, I need help, and I found you, and I'm so lucky in that. It's when, like I said earlier, when I have people that are like, you know, they're going through a messy divorce, but they're an online creator, and then, you know, there's custody battles and happening right before their eyes, and then they've got this another layer.
But that's the time that you either are somebody who says, right, I'm just going to deal with this all myself, or you're someone who says, I need to get some help. And I have all the time in the world for the people that wants to get the help, right? They say, you know what, I'm really struggling.
Yeah.
And then you can get yourself some help. Like, you don't have to sit in that space, right? There's help out there.
Yeah, and I think that that's the biggest thing that I would say, because like I said, I've had like, I don't know whether there's something in the air, but so many people reaching out to me and they're like, Lydia, how do you cope in everything that you like experience?
Well, you invested a lot
Yeah.
into becoming that person, and you invest not just financially, you invest mentally, you invest emotionally, you invest your time, you invest spiritually, right? It's all going on in your brain. There was homework you had to do, like, so it's like nothing comes from nothing. Like, or are you going to invest in it? If you want to become an amazing chef, you probably should go to school and learn how to do it. You can't just look and be like, oh my God, you're an amazing chef, and how do I do that? But not actually want to take any action to get there.
Like we were talking about earlier, because there's so many people online saying like, do it my way, and actually sometimes these people aren't qualified, or they haven't like done the amount of research and work that some other people have. Like, so when people come to the point where they're like, I need to find someone to help me cope with this, they don't really have any confidence. And that's why I do these videos with you, is that I want people to know that like I had it quite intensely online. Like I mean,
not quite intensely, Lydia. It was intense.
Yeah.
It was intense. And it can be intense for you. And anybody in your position.
Yeah.
You know, I work with a lot of people, and, you know, I sign NDAs all day long. Unfortunately, I can't say who or what or whatever. But there's a lot of that out there. Like, if you are in the public, you're in the public.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this stuff's gonna happen. And it's a choice to be in the public.
Absolutely.
First of all, that's your choice, right? So that's a choice one wants to make or not make. And then if you're going to be in that position, you would be intelligent to understand how to be in that position in the most comfortable way possible. I think there's a Buddhist saying, and I won't get it right, but there is a Buddhist saying, and it says something like, you know, I hope you get your Ferrari fast. And what they mean by that is, like, the minute you get that thing you think you really need to have is the minute that it changes and you go, oh yeah, it's not this.
Yeah.
It's not this thing that is outside of myself. It's inside. It's an inside job. And it's a really, you know, I feel very grateful for that lesson, to know that I would much prefer today, you know, connection and, you know, the friendships that I have, these beautiful friendships, and, you know, horse riding and these things that bring me inner peace than, you know, something that, you know, no one else can get. Like, no. Just no. And also I feel like that's very much stuff that's like, you know, you're very outside of yourself in that space. You're not inside of yourself.
I feel like I'm on a journey with it at the moment, whereby like I like nice things, but I also know that they don't in any way, shape or form affect what's inside.
Everybody likes nice things. Whoever says, oh, it's not about nice things, like, they're lying. That's not true. We all like nice things, right? One can choose to work hard to get those things. But when we are defined by those things, I guess is what we're saying, is when it all goes a bit wrong, because it's like,
yeah,
you know, you can be in the most beautiful hotel, you know, in the best room in the house and overlooking the sea, but if you've got stuff going on in your mind, or you're with the wrong person, or you're like, that stuff is, you know,
yeah, I think that's
why it wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, that almost makes me feel a bit more like I'm understanding it, because it's like, I know I still like nice things, and like I like to go to nice places and have nice experiences, but that's the key, is that those things don't define you. So they're just like, they're just little sprinkles on top of the cupcake, aren't they? Like, and
lovely,
yeah,
but not like, I am this person that does this and wears that and has this, and because take away that stuff, and who are you? You have to build from the inside out, not the outside in. Mind you, saying that, sometimes I guess you do build from the outside, and that takes you to go in. You know, it could be that way as well, couldn't it?
I think that that's probably one of the most relatable ways of doing it, is that so many people, like, I know that I've been on a journey of understanding what success is to me, because before success was like the house, the bank balance, the car, the this and that, and whilst I still have those things, I had to learn that the success was actually like waking up in the morning and feeling free, and not feeling like
100%
fearful, and waking up and like loving my husband
100%.
and like being content with the basics, because in all honesty, I was the most miserable when I'd achieved the things that I thought I wanted.
If I had £1 for every time somebody said that to me, you know, I'd be on my yacht in Barbados right now. We are told, again, society's rules, like, men have got to, you know, usually make a load of money and be the top of their company to be successful, and women, you've got to be thin, you've got to be beautiful, you've got to maybe run a business. Like, there's all these like silly little rules in place that tell us that's what success is. But you actually, as you go along, you understand that that isn't really success for you at all. Like, there's lots of different ways to differentiate success, because you can be, you know, a multi-gazillionaire as a man, and be, you know, and not have any relation with your family or your friends. So how successful are you? Or you can be, you know, supposedly a certain look as a woman, supposedly successful, and have serious mental health issues. So how do we define success? And that's another reason why we must not look at people and assume and make comparisons, because it's like, you just don't know what's going on behind all of that stuff. And success is up to you to define. And what it might be for you, it might be for someone else. Completely different. You can choose to change.
Yeah, that is one of the things that we always touch on whenever we talk, is that like, no one's going to do it for you. You have to put in the work, and you have to be open to the possibilities of taking control of your mind. And I have no doubt that you'll find yourself with people that just aren't at the place where they're ready to do the kind of work that
it's
you're
timing,
doing.
for sure.
And I know that you don't take on every client that comes like your way, but I think the most important thing for me is letting people know that there are possibilities to thrive in the world as it is at the moment, and or just, like you always say, just be calm in it. Like, that's
but it's also, how do you want to live? Right? I had a teacher once, and he said to me, you've got to be really careful what you allow into your brain. And it really struck a chord for me of like, I must be careful what I allow in my brain, because my brain is really precious, and I've really got to take care of it. So if I'm constantly listening to and reading about all terrible things, my thoughts aren't going to be great.
Anyway, oh my gosh.
I know, we could literally do
it for 3 hours,
right?
but I will pop, as always, I'll pop all of Jacqueline's information. I'll pop her Instagram, her book, in case you haven't, like, if you didn't know, we did a video previously, she's got her own book as well. And it's always a really good place to start, because I think that gives you a look into how amazing she actually, like, all the work that she does is, but also the details about your school, the details about working with you. And like I said, she doesn't work with everyone, because she needs to know that people are going to do the work and work
you've got to be ready.
With you. Yeah, exactly. I just feel very, very lucky that I'm able to sit here with Jacqueline and share her with you, and share so many of the things that, like, I've learned, her processes, and just how fantastic she is with you. So yeah, thank you for allowing me to come into your home as well.
You're so welcome, thank you.
I loved it.
Yeah, I always love chatting to you. And I always hope that when we, you know, do these sorts of things together, that even if we've helped one person hear one thing, like that just makes me happy, like good, that is great, like that's what this is all about, right? It's just that.
And one of the things that I love the most is that obviously I found you through another creator, and I know that so many creators now have come and told me that, like, oh my gosh, I booked in with Jacqueline off of the back of you like talking about her, and I think that that is just so important as well, just in like this industry side. It's not just for creators, but knowing that when someone is struggling, they trusted me enough with my sharing of you and what's happened with me and how I've changed, that they've chosen to go and work with you. It's just, it blows my mind. And when they come to me and they say like, life-changing.
Bless, thank you.
So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's like a mutual love appreciation. And we're sending love out as well.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Right, that was so good. Such a good chat with Jacqueline as well. I just always feel like we have like so much stuff to talk about that we could just sit there for hours, but it's always that funny thing. I'm like, should I put my camera up now? Is this a good conversation for us to be having? But I think we've got like 2 hours of footage that I'm gonna have to edit down to like the best bits. But yeah, I feel really lucky that I'm able to share like her with you and also just talk in that way with her. I feel really lucky to like have her as a friend as well, so it's just very, very nice. I always leave on cloud 9. I was gonna go do some shopping, but I'm like, do you know what, no, I'm gonna go home and kiss my husband, my schnoots, and make some dinner. So yeah, gonna jump on a train now.
All right, Linda.
Zero context.
All right, Linda.
Zero context. Why is there a cheese grater with cheddar cheese on it and I'm holding a glass of wine?
This means you've had carbs and pasta, because this means day drinking with your bestest Carol.
So, just to give the context to the clip, that was the back of a, is that Mudhouse?
It is Madhouse actually, yeah.
The back of a Mudhouse bottle. We are heading to Le Manoir today for Bastille Day, and it is a perfectly British summer's day for the occasion.
Absolutely. In fact, it doesn't even show.
The sun is splitting the streets. Even the sausage dogs won't go out for a week, so that's always a good indicator. Like, Porty keeps coming up to the back door and asking us to open it, and then he's like, actually no, screw that, mum.
It's alright, Porty. You can wee yourself in here.
Do you remember that time when I had to get him a towel and let him wee on it because he was so upset? And
Yeah.
he was outside. It was raining so badly that I had to get Porter a towel and let him wee on the towel, and you could tell that he was like, Mum.
Your dogs are as precious as you.
Yeah, it's true. Porty's is precious. Barkley's the kid at school that smells a bit funny.
The cheesy what's it?
Yeah. Look at him.
Ooh, me?
But you're small. You're small. You're very small. Oh my goodness me. Oh, goodness me.
Yeah, so we're off to Le Manoir for Bastille Day. For a garden party.
For a great British garden party in the sunshine. Minus the sunshine.
Probably by the fire.
Yes, that's the thing that we've decided, is that what we'll probably end up doing is enjoying the food by the fire more than anything else.
With a glass of something.
With a glass. They've got a good wine menu there. Ooh, hello? Hello? Oh, oh my gosh!
It's done!
Oh
It's
my
done!
gosh! Oh my gosh! Let me brush my teeth before I go.
Andiamo!
Andiamo. We have arrived, and I haven't even shown you my outfit properly today. I'm wearing my Reese skirt that went into the sale with a Susanna London shirt and a Marcella blazer. And I've never seen anything more British than the weather and all of these marquees at Le Manoir. I love it. When I tell you we've been I'm dragging Carrie down with me. It's been the worst vlogging that I've ever done. We've been dancing, it's been amazing. And now we're waiting for our car to pick us up, but we've had such a good time. Oh, is he? Amazing. The lady of the hour. Hello, meow. Oh my goodness me. 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 I'm singing over the top so I don't get a royalty claim. Oh my goodness me. Let's go back to the party. Little downward doggy. Come on now. Come on. This little munchkin has met me at the door. Hello, my gorgeous girl. My gorgeous, I just left a little cat that looked just like you at Le Manoir, but you're much bougier. However, we're returning home. Oh my goodness me. Have you been having a duvet day? Porty! Oh, look at Porty, doesn't know what to do with himself. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness me, my boy. You've been having a little snuggle fest. Snuggle. Oh. You needed some daddy time, you doll. Oh, Dum Dum. Oh my goodness, you just show me the cheesy tummy and you know that your mommy loves it. Legs akimbo.